INEOS reportedly in talks with the representatives of Mauricio Pochettino and Thomas Frank to replace Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag has apparently jetted off on holiday, but is desperate to find out what the fate is for himself. These are some of the stories we're going to be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching. I will be live throughout the whole of the transfer window with a show for you in the morning, a show for you in the evening. And if anything breaks during the day, I will go live as well. So let's get straight into the good stuff then. A little bit of positivity, why not? Let's start the show off with some positivity. Obviously, we won the FA Cup yesterday. That's amazing, isn't it? But Kobbie Mainoo. Apparently, Kobbie Mainoo is going to sign a new contract at Manchester United after the summer. So that's really, really positive. Unbelievable player. What can I say about Kobbie? 19 years of age. Absolutely unbelievable. Was probably the best midfielder on the pitch yesterday. He completely held his own against Man City, against Rodri, who's regarded as the best CDM in world football. Unbelievable player, unbelievable talent, and we've just got to back him 100%, okay? We know that Kobbie Mainoo has unbelievable talent, but there will be moments where he has bad games. There will be points where some fans are going to turn against him. Now, I know people will be watching this thinking, no, I never will, but you know what the Man United fan base are like. He has one bad game and people will turn against him. Don't let that be you. Back our players, stick with our players through thick and thin, because that's what we should be doing. The same with our manager, which we'll be talking about in a minute. I wanted to talk a little bit about Sofyan Amrabat really quickly. I know we spoke about him on the show this morning, and there was quite a lot of different opinions on whether he should stay at the club or not. Just to give everyone a little recap, we paid £8 million to Fiorentina in order to loan him for one season. If we want to sign him on a permanent deal, it will cost £17.1 million. This has been confirmed by Sky Sports. So in about a week or two's time, we will have to let Fiorentina know whether we're going to trigger that option or not. I personally think for £17 million, it's a no-brainer. I think he's better than Casemiro. Obviously, Casemiro's had a better career, but Casemiro at this point in his career is not as useful as Amrabat, in my opinion. Amrabat's 27, Casemiro's 32. Amrabat plays really well alongside Kobbie Mainoo, and I think Casemiro's legs are gone. So me personally, I move on Casemiro, sell him to Saudi. We save 350k a week in wages. You probably get 20 to 30 million pounds in a transfer fee. That will easily cover the transfer fee for Amrabat, and you're left with a couple of million left in the bank as well. So for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. But as always, you can let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Welcome to everyone who has just joined the video, by the way. If you are watching the video live, you can get involved in the poll. And it's a question that I want everybody to answer, okay? So if you're watching this back on repeat, I want you to let me know in the comment section, okay? The question is this: if INEOS sack Erik ten Hag, do you lose trust in them? Let me know in the comment section. I'm going to give my opinion now, and obviously I want you guys, that's the question for today's show. So everybody get in that comment section and let me know the answer to this simple question. If INEOS decide to sack Erik ten Hag now after us beating the best team in the world, Man City, yesterday, Erik ten Hag outwitting the best manager in world football at the moment, Pep Guardiola, do you lose trust in them? Me? Yes, I do. I lose trust in them immediately. The one thing that really stuck out with INEOS when they said they were going to submit a bid for Man United was that they wanted the fans to be heard again. They understood that the Glazers over the last 10 years had kept the fans out of the loop. They hadn't communicated with us properly, right? The fans want Erik ten Hag to stay. We did a poll on the channel earlier on today. 85% of people who follow this channel wanted Erik ten Hag to stay. I seen Andy Mitten, one of the most reliable journalists around Manchester United. He goes home and away to Man United, runs one of the most... he runs a magazine that they sell at the stadium. He did a poll last night. 53,000 people voted in Andy Mitten's poll. 86% of them wanted Erik ten Hag to stay. The fans have spoken. We want to stick with Erik ten Hag. We back this manager. We back the project. There is a small minute of people, 10, 15% of people who, for whatever reason, think that, they think that Thomas Frank's going to come in and do a better job. They think that Poch is going to come in and do a better job. It's complete rubbish. Erik ten Hag is the first manager since Sir Alex Ferguson to win back-to-back trophies at Man United. Erik ten Hag broke a 6-year gap of no trophies by winning the League Cup in his first season and getting us third place in the table. He then follows that up with an absolute stinker of a season, but has unbelievable injury issues. Awful. the worst injuries out of any team in the Premier League, and he still manages to go and outwit Pep Guardiola and win us the FA Cup. We've won more trophies this season than Arsenal, supposedly the second best team in the world, with the greatest manager, Arteta, that they all tell us. Erik ten Hag has achieved more this season than Arteta has. Trophies are the most important thing in football. If I asked you this, what would you prefer? We don't win a trophy for the next 10 years, but we play attractive football. Or we play pragmatic football and we win a trophy every single season. I would pick the trophy every single season. Who do we want to be, Tottenham or Man United? That pretty much sums it up for me. Mic drop moment. Everyone who's just joined the video, by the way, please give the video a like. Let's try and see 250 likes on today's show. And if this is your first time watching as well, make sure you subscribe. As I said, we'll be live throughout the whole of the transfer window. I'll have a video for you in the morning, a video for you in the evening. And if anything breaks during the day, I will go live as well. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. Right, let's move over to the story about Thomas Frank and Mauricio Pochettino then, because I know that's probably why most of you have clicked on this video. So this is coming out from James Ducker, who is a very reliable source from The Telegraph. I would say he's a tier 1 source. He is the Manchester United correspondent for The Telegraph here in the UK. He sits in the press conferences. He is reliable. He doesn't put out fake stories, okay? And he is reporting this evening that Manchester United have now held discussions with the representatives of Thomas Frank and Mauricio Pochettino as they continue to explore their options ahead of making a final decision on sacking Erik ten Hag. I mean, they literally have no shame, do they? First of all, it was Thomas Tuchel. Then it was Kieran McKenna's representatives. Then there's a story leaked by The Guardian in the UK on the eve of our biggest game saying that they're going to sack him. We've just had one of the best moments in the last 5 or 6 years of our history last night. The FA Cup. The second best trophy in England. The one with so much history, so much heritage. Heritage. It's a major trophy, the FA Cup. We beat Liverpool to get there. It's not like we played a load of farmers to get there. We beat some good teams in order to get to that FA Cup final. And then not only that, we then beat the best team in the world at the moment, Man City, who've just won 4 Premier Leagues in a row, with the best manager in the world at the moment, the best squad in the world at the moment. You get where I'm going with this. And they have the shame after that to now go and speak to Poch. Answer me this. How many trophies did Poch win at Tottenham in 5 years? Not one. Not a single one. And he had a very talented squad there. 5 years at Tottenham, no trophies. Thomas Frank, I mean, fair play to Thomas Frank. He's done a good job at Brentford, but can anybody seriously sit there at home this evening and tell me that Thomas Frank is a better manager than Erik ten Hag? I'm sorry. Maybe he could be in the future, but he hasn't proved that to me yet. Maybe he'll get the move to like a Brighton or someone like that, and he'll get them Europe and they'll win the Europa Conference League. That's the level of Thomas Frank. He's a good manager. He is, and I respect Thomas Frank. I like him. But how can anybody in their right mind come to me and say, with, hand on their heart, that Thomas Frank is a better manager than Erik ten Hag? It's an absolute disgrace. I'm sorry. It really, really frustrates me. And I think after what we achieved yesterday as a team, do they not have any shame? Who do these people think they are? Now, just to be very, very clear, right? My understanding is that Jim Ratcliffe isn't having any say on the footballing side of things. Apparently, Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Alex Ferguson want Erik ten Hag to stay. That's the story that we're hearing this evening. Those two really want Erik ten Hag to stay, but effectively it's not up to him. It's going to be up to Sir Dave Brailsford, Dan Ashworth, and apparently Dan Ashworth is pushing for a new manager. Dan Ashworth wants to bring in someone new for his own project, and that person is not Erik ten Hag. That's the narrative that we're hearing this evening. And you have to remember from the very, very beginning, right? Sir Jim Ratcliffe said that he will not be involved in the big footballing decisions. Jim Ratcliffe's involvement was putting money into the club. And he was then going to hire experts in Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada to make the big decisions. So it's easy for us to send hate towards Jim Ratcliffe. I get it, because he is the face of INEOS, isn't he? But my understanding is it's not going to be him who's making the final decision. It's going to be Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, Sir Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc. And at the moment, those people are siding with a new manager for a new project. And apparently Dan Ashworth is the person who's going to make the final decision. Because the thing you have to remember is, right, Dan Ashworth will be the director of football. He'll be the one who recruits the players. He'll be the one that effectively decides what style of play we want, which I understand, but he's not even through the door yet. He's not even in the club. He's on gardening leave. He's currently trying to sue Newcastle. And we're letting this man make our biggest decision in probably the last decade. He hasn't even been in the club yet. He's not been at Carrington. He's not been monitoring things. Like, how does that make any sense whatsoever? Even if you don't think Erik ten Hag's good enough and you want him to be sacked, that's fine. I understand your frustration. It's been a terrible season, except for the game yesterday. We've played poor football at times. The signings have been questionable. I get it. But we don't even have the new management team in place yet. Dan Ashworth hasn't even started work yet. Omar Barada hasn't started work yet. Jason Wilcox started about a month ago. And that's our new team. 2 of them haven't even started yet, and the other only started a month ago. Like, what is going through their heads the day after our biggest win I think, in the last decade, our most monumental win in the last decade? Obviously, winning the Europa League was nice, but did any of those victories feel as sweet as yesterday's? It didn't. Nobody expected us to win. We were the underdogs. The bookies literally had completely written us off in yesterday's game, right? And we went and did it. And for now, on the evening after that, literally 24 hours later, the headline coming out from an extremely reliable source that United are still now speaking to Poch's agent and Thomas Frank's agent. The same article says as well, Erik ten Hag is still at serious risk of being sacked despite winning the FA Cup. So the narrative that James Ducker from The Telegraph has, and just to remind you, right, James Ducker sits in the press conferences, he interviews the manager. He is a tier 1 source. He's not just some random person on Twitter spouting crap for likes. He is a reliable journalist. It's really, really frustrating. And let's see what the poll's saying. 77% of you said that you will lose trust in INEOS if they sack Erik ten Hag. I'm with you 100% there. 100%. Anybody who's watching the video back on repeat, you can get in the comment section. Let me know. If INEOS decide to sack Erik ten Hag, will you lose trust in them? Now, I know they've only been in the club for 6 months, but to make a decision like this, in my opinion, a very bad decision this early on, shows how little football knowledge they have. Remind yourselves of this, people, okay? INEOS, they bought Nice, the football club in France, I think 6 years ago. Nice used to be a relatively good side. They used to get Champions League football quite regularly. And I don't want to just keep going back over old ground. This feels like conversations that we used to have, at the very beginning of the takeover, when people were saying, do we want Qatar? Do we want Jim Ratcliffe, etc.? Anyway, so Nice was bought by INEOS in 2019. Okay, the first season they finished 5th. Second season they finished 9th. Third season they finished 5th. Next season they finished 9th. And this season they finished 5th, right? You look at where they were before INEOS came in. The first season before INEOS came in, they finished 3rd. The second season before INEOS came in, they finished 4th. And the season before that, they finished 10th. So in the 3 seasons before INEOS coming in, they finished 3rd, 4th and 10th. And since then, INEOS haven't got top 4 once with Nice. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is we're giving the biggest footballing decision in the decade to people who have a track record of effectively making a football team worse. Nice have got worse. Nice don't spend money. The Nice fans aren't happy with how INEOS have run the club. And if they don't listen to the fans now, they're going to lose us. I'm sorry, they will. Obviously, we'll always support our team. We'll always back our manager. We'll always back our players, right? But if they, I don't want to swear, but I'm not going to swear. If they mess this up now and they lose the fans this early on, it's going to be very, very difficult to get them back. I'm sorry. Now, I want nothing more than Man United to be winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues and all the rest of it, right? But if they don't care this much about the manager, do you really think they care about us? Answer me that. Jim Ratcliffe, INEOS said, we will listen to the fans, we will involve the fans, we will communicate with the fans. We want to bring the Manchester back to Manchester United. So far, 80 to 85% of Man United fans want they want Erik ten Hag to stay. And the silence is deafening from INEOS. We're sat here this evening discussing them having negotiations with Poch and Thomas Frank. Poch failed at PSG. He failed at Chelsea. I mean, he failed at Tottenham, really. He won nothing in 5 years. Is that really a success? Erik ten Hag, who talks sport, will sit there and claim he's a bold fraud. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Gabby Agbonlahor mouthing off every time he goes on the radio saying what a crap manager he is. This crap manager has won us back-to-back trophies for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson. This crap manager inherited the most toxic squad in Manchester United history, who finished in, I think, 7th on our lowest point tally ever, and got them 3rd the next season. The same season, and then got the League Cup as well. The following season, he has 45 injuries, the most out of any team in the Premier League. He doesn't once throw the players under the bus. He doesn't even throw the owners under the bus. He takes all of the stick, he takes all of the criticism, and then goes and outsmarts the best manager in the world, Pep Guardiola. And these clowns think that they can just pull one over on us. It's so frustrating. Let's see what people are saying in the comment section. I'll try and read out some of your comments and stuff. Everyone who's just joined the video, please smash a like if you haven't already, and subscribe as well. We're only 10 subscribers away from 22,100, so please go and subscribe if you haven't already. What else have we got planned for the show? So just keeping on this topic, Sky Sports are reporting in the last half an hour that Manchester United are now holding talks with multiple managerial candidates to replace Erik ten Hag. Let that sink in for a minute. Sky Sports saying that they're holding talks with other managers. James Ducker from The Telegraph saying that Poch's agent and Thomas Frank's agent have been in conversation with INEOS. Thomas Tuchel apparently coming out through intermediaries saying that he's confident he's going to get the job. I mean, what do they really expect to happen? Is winning trophies not the point of football? What is the point of football? What is the point of football? Is it to win? Is it to win trophies? Is it to play attractive football but not win anything? What do you want as a football fan? I mean, that's a really good question. I think it's quite an interesting one. What would you prefer? Would you prefer to win no trophies for the next 5 years, like Ollie did? He won nothing. And play some attractive football sometimes? Or would you rather win a trophy every season for the next 5 years, but struggle at points, struggle when your best players are missing, struggle when you've got injuries, play pragmatic football at times, maybe get beaten a couple of times by teams you shouldn't have? What would you prefer? The point for me of football is to win trophies. Obviously, you want to be entertained as well, but yeah, it is so frustrating, and you can see how passionate I am about this story. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Most people seem to be saying give Erik ten Hag more time. What else have we got? Digital Sports Update says Poch failed at Spurs and he's failed at Chelsea as well. Yeah, I agree, mate. He has, 100%. Let's see what else we've got in the comment section. Shango says the fans are divided at the moment. I mean, it's a classic tactic, isn't it? Conquer and divide, or divide and conquer, whichever way round it is. It's an absolutely classic tactic. It's what the Glazers did for the last 10 years. And yeah, it's just embarrassing. I'm sorry. It's a disgrace. I don't know what other words to describe this. If they sack Erik ten Hag, they're going to lose a lot of the fan base very early on. The Man United fans are notoriously patient. They're notoriously supporting of their team, of their managers. And the fact that 85% of Man United fans, based on the polls and surveys I've seen, want him to stay, why do they think they have a more divine right to go against the fans? Some of these fans will have supported Man United for 60 years. You know, they'll have been season ticket holders for 50, 60 years. They'll have seen David Moyes. They'll have seen all of the great days under Sir Alex Ferguson. They'll have seen rubbish managers like David Moyes at Man United. And they're still backing Erik ten Hag. Yet INEOS come walking through the door. They don't even have a director of football in place yet. They don't even have Omar Barada in place yet. And they think that sacking the manager to bring in, let's be honest, Kieran McKenna, Thomas Tuchel, Graham Potter, Gareth Southgate. I mean, do any of these it just doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. If we were sat here this evening and the story was that Zinedine Zidane was at Carrington having an interview, I would still be a bit disappointed, but I could understand the interest in a manager of that caliber. Or if Carlo Ancelotti had said, if my dream is to come and manage for Man United, I'm going to leave Real Madrid, I want to come to Man United, you would say, I am at least interested to hear where this story will go. But the fact that 24 hours after our biggest win, in my opinion, in a decade, our most important victory and our most important trophy triumph in a decade, we're hearing that these idiots are communicating with Thomas Frank and Poch. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thanks to everyone who's joined me on this probably rant. I had to do the video. I had to have my opinion. As I said, guys, If you haven't already, once this video goes live, get in the comment section and let me know, if INEOS sack Erik ten Hag, do you lose trust in them? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to wrap the video up here. I will be back live at 11 a.m. UK time tomorrow. If this is your first time watching, don't forget to smash a like and subscribe on your way out. I'm live every day at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. And if anything breaks during the day, I go live as well. So make sure you get involved in the channel. Thank you for joining me. Have a great Sunday evening, everybody. And I will speak to you all at 11 a.m. UK time tomorrow.